You are born Melania Trump on April 26, 1970, in a communist country that doesn't yet know it's about to collapse. Your hometown is Sevnica, Slovenia, a place of 5,000 people, a salami factory, and absolutely zero indication that you will one day stand at a podium bearing the seal of the President of the United States. Your mother is a textile worker. Your father sells cars. You grow up in a communist-era apartment block along a quiet river in a country ruled by a man named Tito. You are a good student. Your favorite subject is geography. You have no way of knowing yet just how much of the world you're about to see. At 16, a local fashion photographer spots you at a school modeling show. You had actually wanted to be a fashion designer, not a model. But here's your first lesson in how your life is going to work. What you want and what happens are going to be two very different things, and sometimes the thing that happens is better. You start modeling. You move to Ljubljana. You sign with an agency in Milan. You reject a movie role because a producer sexually propositioned you, which tells you everything about that industry and nothing you didn't already suspect. In 1992, you're named runner-up in the Jana magazine Look of the Year contest. Close, but not first. The story of your life in one sentence. You keep moving. Milan, Paris, and eventually New York. In 1996, modeling agent Paolo Zampoli sponsors your immigration to the United States. You arrive in New York City with a career, a suitcase, and a last name the Americans cannot pronounce. You are 26 years old, from a country most people cannot locate on a map, and you are about to walk into a party that will change the rest of your life. The party is at the Kit Kat Club in Manhattan. It's 1998, New York Fashion Week. You are modeling that evening. He attends as a high-profile guest, accompanied by another woman. He spots you, walks over, and asks for your number. You say no. You ask for his instead. He writes something on his business card and hands it to you. You call him a few days later. Is he a businessman or celebrity, you ask yourself? His eyes are filled with curiosity and interest. His energy is magnetic. You feel, for a moment, like the center of his world. What you do not yet know, the man is 52 years old. You are 28. He has been married twice. He has 4 children. He is currently in the middle of a divorce. He once said on the Howard Stern show about his own daughter, Ivanka, that she had a good body. He has been described by tabloids as the most eligible bachelor in New York, which really means he is the most aggressively single man in the tri-state area. You start dating anyway, because you are a woman who makes her own choices. You briefly split in 2000. Then, at the 2004 Met Gala, themed Dangerous Liaisons, he proposes. The universe has a sense of humor. You marry on January 22, 2005. The wedding costs $2.5 million. The reception is at Mar-a-Lago. One of the guests is Hillary Clinton. At the time, nobody finds that last part particularly strange. Shortly before the wedding, he tells Larry King on live television, "I'm not going to be doing the diapers. I'm not going to be making the food. I may never even see the kids, frankly." You hear this. You marry him anyway. You are either the most patient woman alive or you have already accepted something the rest of the world will spend years debating. You sleep in separate bedrooms like you have throughout your entire marriage. The press will treat this as a scandal. You treat it as a preference. In 2006, your son Baron is born. The pregnancy is splashed across every magazine. You appear on the cover of Vogue, showing your pregnant body in a bikini and an open coat. It sells. Everything about you sells. You are fascinating to the public in a way you did not ask for and cannot turn off. In 2011, your husband goes on television and questions whether the sitting president of the United States was born in America. You stay quiet. You learn early that silence is a strategy, not a weakness. Then 2016 happens. He runs for president. You become the only candidate's spouse since polling began in 1988 with a disapproval rating higher than your approval rating. You have done nothing wrong. You are simply married to him, which apparently is enough. You agree to give one speech. 1. At the Republican National Convention. A paragraph of the speech turns out to be plagiarized from Michelle Obama's 2008 address. You had said you wrote it with as little help as possible. Nobody reviewed it. Donald is furious at his staff. You feel you failed the campaign. You go back to New York and you don't give another major speech for the rest of the campaign. Honestly, fair enough. He wins. The whole world loses its mind. You stand next to him on election night in a white pantsuit, the color of suffrage, and no one can agree on whether that's a message or a coincidence. With you, it's never a coincidence. He moves into the White House. You don't move in until June, 5 months later, so Barron can finish the school year. In any other marriage, this would be called reasonable parenting. In this marriage, every tabloid in the world calls it a rift. Then comes the jacket. You board a plane to visit migrant children at the border, and you are wearing a green jacket that says, on the back, in large letters, "I really don't care, do you?" The entire planet stops rotating for approximately 48 hours. Your spokesperson says it has no hidden message. Your husband tweets that it is a message directed at the fake news media. You never explain it. You go to your grave with that one. In 2018, the Stormy Daniels story breaks. An alleged affair, said to have taken place in July 2006, shortly after your marriage and the birth of your son. Your public appearances become more infrequent. You cancel several events you were scheduled to attend with your husband. You do not hold his hand at the airport. You do not hold his hand walking to the helicopter. The internet compiles a supercut. It goes viral. You say nothing. You are always saying nothing. It is your greatest power and your greatest mystery. Then come the EpsteinFiles, among the documents released by the Justice Department. A photograph found inside a drawer at Epstein's home showing Donald Trump alongside Epstein, you, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Then there is the email. A 2002 message, sender and recipient redacted, beginning, "Dear G," and ending, "Love Melania," complimenting the recipient on a magazine article about J.E. It reads, "I know you are very busy flying all over the world. How was Palm Beach? I cannot wait to go down. Give me a call when you are back in New York." The internet does what the internet does. On April 9th, 2026, you walk to a podium in the grand foyer of the White House, the same spot your husband addressed the nation about the war in Iran, and you make a statement. Unannounced, uncoordinated. Several aides gathered to watch, but many did not know what you were going to say beforehand. Even your husband said he didn't know ahead of time. You say, "I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today." The statement immediately reverberated across Washington, dragging the Epstein saga, which the administration had been desperate to move past, directly back to the front page. Your husband, who had been urging the public to move on, found his preferred news cycle shattered by his own wife in under 3 minutes. Democrats on Capitol Hill immediately demanded you testify before Congress, suggesting you may have planted the seeds for a major clash between the White House and Congress if they win the midterms. You came to make it stop. You may have made it worse. And somehow that is the most Melania thing that has ever happened. Here is what we know about you and what we will likely never stop debating. You came from a communist apartment block in a town famous for its salami. You rejected a movie role at 16 because a man propositioned you. You refused to give your number to the most famous man in the room. You married him 7 years later. You became First Lady of the most powerful country on earth, twice. You survived Stormy Daniels, the plagiarized speech, the jacket, the hand-swatting videos, and now an Epstein file with your signature on it. You have given, by some counts, fewer public speeches as First Lady than any in modern history. In your first year, you gave 8 speeches, compared to 74 by Michelle Obama. You have a documentary that sold to Amazon for $40 million. You have a memoir. You have a production company. You have a code of silence that world leaders and tabloid journalists alike have failed to crack for 30 years. The question everyone asks is, what does she actually think? Does she love him? Is she trapped? Is she running the whole operation from behind those perfectly composed eyes? Nobody knows. And that might be the most powerful thing about you. You are the most photographed woman in American politics and the least understood person in any room you walk into. You walked in from Sevnica with nothing but a name no one could spell and a silence no one could read, and you turned both into armor. Whether that's a triumph or a tragedy probably depends on which side of the glass you're standing on. This is your world, and in this world, you are Melania.